This is session number 17 in the Alcoholic Rehabilitation Series. Again, to begin this session, place yourself in as comfortable a position as you can. Let your whole body completely relax. Take a deep breath. Let it out. And let yourself completely relax. Each muscle in your body will relax more and more as you think about letting yourself go into a state of complete relaxation. Think about your feet. Think of them as limp, loose, with no tension whatsoever. Think of them as so relaxed, so completely relaxed that there's a feeling of heaviness, perhaps even a slight numb feeling as you concentrate on your feet, letting them relax completely. Each part of your body you relax. Let your whole body relax more completely, going into a deeper state of complete relaxation. Moving up your body now, think about your legs. Let your legs become completely relaxed. Your legs from the tip of your toes all the way up to your waist are now becoming heavy, numb, and completely relaxed. Your breathing now has become deep and regular. You're already feeling slightly drowsy. You've become so relaxed that your mind is still clear. You're still following everything that is being said. Now move up to your chest. Your whole chest and stomach area. Take a deep breath. Just let that whole area sink as you let the air out. The whole area is going into a state of deep relaxation. More and more relaxed. Now your whole body is completely relaxed. Picture yourself now that your mind is clear and open. Your body is so relaxed. Picture yourself lying on the beach. Lying on an air mattress on the beach with the warm sun coming down, warming up your legs, your stomach and chest, and your face. You can feel the warmth just as though you were actually there. And it feels good. The tension is being dried out. All the tension's drying up from the warm sun. Feeling your whole body sink deeper, deeper, into the air mattress, more and more relaxed. And in the background, you can hear the waves coming up to the shore, gently rolling in on the sand, each wave softly hissing up on the sand, telling you to relax even more, going more and more completely into a state of complete relaxation. Now, we're going to go into the future again. And it's been 5 months since you've had anything to drink. And each day that goes by without drinking makes you feel even better. You've become really amazed at yourself now, and you're projecting yourself now into the future, imagining that all this has already happened to you. You've been working on that job now for some months. It's been going really good. You surprised yourself that you've been getting there every day. You've been collecting your check. You like your work. And one reason you like your work is because you're not as tired as you used to be. When you were drinking, it took all of your energy to even get up in the morning. Now it's 5 months since you had a drink. You find that you spring out of bed easily. You find yourself really full of energy that you didn't have before. You used to feel tired, worried. You had a hard time sleeping. Now you sleep sound as a rock. You don't wake up in the middle of the night anymore, nervous, wishing you had a drink, just suffering from the last hangover. You can walk up and down steps now without getting tired, getting winded. Your heart doesn't pound after you've had just a little bit of exercise. It seems even easier to breathe. Your head is clear almost all the time now. You found yourself doing a little more walking, getting just a little bit of exercise. Your meals taste better than they ever have. You had thought you were getting to be an old man before. And it was really just nothing except the effects of the alcohol sapping your body energy, taking your strength away. You've given up some other things besides drinking at the same time you gave up drinking. One thing you gave up was disappointing people. You're remembering now, thinking back, so glad that you stopped playing that particular role. What a funny, roundabout way to get even with people. Times that they found you, maybe bailed you out of jail, sobered you up, and you were very, very sincere when you told them, I'm through. I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm giving it up this time. And for a long time they would get excited about this when they heard you say that. But after a while, they didn't seem to get too excited. But when they believed it, and then when they found you drinking or sick, and then they would look at you with that hurt, shocked look on their face. And that look, that disappointment, it was kind of fun in a roundabout way, not in a way anybody could understand easily. But it was fun. It kind of showed them. They always pushing you, always wanting you to act so great. But if you could get them to believe you weren't going to drink, and then go ahead and get drunk, that look on their face, that disappointment, maybe even the lectures they gave you, there was something nice about that. At least they paid attention to you. And lots and lots of times they came and were busy trying to prove that they did care for you. They were going to help you out and rescue you. In fact, a lot of times, those were the only times they did seem to show any interest in you when you got in trouble. But that was in the past. 5 months ago was the last time. Now, you're thinking back on those days, glad that it's behind you. And once in a while you still disappoint people, but not in the same way. Now you disappoint them because you want to disappoint them, because if they expect more from you than you care to produce or give them, you just tell them. But you don't disappoint them in a way where they can look down on you, cluck their tongue at you, feel sorry for you. After 5 months, you finally went to a party last night, and you were determined to not drink, and you didn't. You saw the people there. Some of them were drinking, and some of them weren't. And at first, as you watched them drink, and they tried to offer you drinks, and you had learned by this time how to get a glass in your hand full of your favorite your favorite soft drink and walk around with it. That way, keeping the people off your back that wanted you to drink so bad. But even watching them, it made you feel almost like they were slapping you in the face, daring you, challenging you to drink. Some of them even came up and began insulting you a little bit about drinking, saying that any man can drink if he wants to, implying or making out like you just didn't have the courage and strength to drink. But you resisted, and you felt really good about it. The odd thing was that you watched what was going on at the party. You found yourself very sensitive to what the people were doing to each other, what they were saying to each other. Before, at those kinds of parties, you were always just a little too smashed to follow what was going on. But last night, you watched the interplay between the people. You watched the woman who always goes around teasing all the fellows. You watched her start at one end of the room, flirting with 2 or 3 of the drunks, leading them on, getting them just a little excited, and then moving on with them trailing after her. It was really a humorous sight, and you felt quite superior sitting there watching all this, and you had a right to, because for a change, you were watching what was going on instead of being too smashed to be aware of it. You remember when you used to be like that, easy prey, an easy victim for some bitchy woman that would come along, take advantage of the fact that you were a little high or drunk, lead you on, and then dump you. When she came by you, started flirting a little, you just turned her off cold because you knew her game. You were able to see what she was doing. You felt really good about that. You still feel good about it. How much more awareness you have of other people, of what they're doing, when you're not stoned with alcohol. When the party was over, you walked out. You didn't stay for the whole party. Finally got tired and decided that you wanted to get a good night's sleep, get back to work the next day. You knew half of the people there weren't going to make it. When you left, you walked out of the party. You weren't carried out. You didn't fall down during the party. You didn't end up the next day with a lot of strange bruises all over your body that you couldn't account for. You didn't have to call up anybody the next day and say, "What did I do? What happened?" Your nose wasn't scratched. You didn't get in any fights with anybody. You just had a good time. You knew when you had had enough of the party, you had left. You're thinking now that it's been some time since you had those sores all over from. A lot of times you didn't even know what they were from. Falling, sometimes fights, sometimes bumping against things, sometimes falling down a flight of stairs. If you went to work at all, it was a lot of times with a black eye, bumped into something. That doesn't happen anymore. You don't have to walk in work hanging your head, wondering what everybody's going to think. You've been proud of yourself lately for good reason, because you have displayed the fact that you have a great deal of strength, that you've been able to resist taking a drink, because you know it just doesn't do you any good. And you have always had this same strength, but before it was directed a little bit in the wrong way. Before, it used to show up after an AA meeting, after a church meeting, after a talk with a doctor, after a talk with a policeman. This strength used to show up whenever you talked to anybody who told you to give up drinking. It's funny, thinking back on those days, how you'd be able to start talking to somebody about the weather within a few minutes. Somehow you had told them everything. Told them that you had been drinking, that you had trouble with your drinking, that you had lost jobs. Within a very few minutes, no matter who it was, would start giving you the old, "Why don't you give up drinking" lecture. The more they told you to give up drinking, the more hundreds of people that told you to give it up, the more thousands of people. You can see yourself now even sitting there, somebody's pointing the accusing finger at you. When are you going to give up drinking? The more they say that, the more all those people said it. The only thing you could think of was to go get a drink. You had great strength then. It was directed against those people who wanted to act pushy, who wanted to act bossy. And that was your way of telling them to go to hell. You'd listen to them sometimes because you had even asked them to give you the lecture in a roundabout way. And the stronger they came on, the harder they pushed, especially if they threatened you and said, "You've only got 6 months to live." Then you had an extra thing to go out and drink for, to prove that you weren't afraid of death, that you were a real man. And that takes a great deal of strength. But you know now that it wasn't doing you any good compared to what you have now. You've got the strength to resist getting people to give you lectures. You've got the strength to decide yourself that you don't want to drink, instead of turning other people into your keeper, turning other people into your conscience. Because as soon as they become your conscience, as soon as they give you the lectures, The desire is always there to defy the conscience, to tell them, I don't have to if I don't want to. I'm going to do what I want. Again, a great strength that you have the same strength now as you had then, but now you don't waste your time turning people into a conscience. You make your own decisions about drinking or not. This morning, even after the party, you woke up feeling rested, relaxed, and refreshed. You had a good night's sleep. You were ready for the day. And you knew just about how hard you'd work. You knew that you weren't going to just rush around all day until you got yourself too tired. So tired that when you went home tonight, you wouldn't be able to watch TV or enjoy TV. You wouldn't be able to talk to anybody. You'd be too tired, and the only thing that could pick up your energy is a couple drinks. You've learned to pace yourself in the last 5 months. You've learned how to stop in the middle of the day, sit down for a few minutes, and just relax. You've learned how to postpone work. Not get out of it, but how to postpone it. How to put it off long enough for you to figure out what would be the best approach. How to put off a job for a few minutes in order for you to relax from the last job you just finished. You found yourself operating not really at a slower pace, but at a more even pace. You don't speed up and then slow down. You find yourself figuring out how much you can do a day, how much you're going to do, and if somebody starts pushing you, you find yourself able to tell them what your pace is, what you can do, and that it'd be better for them if they just accepted that. Before, somebody told you you weren't working fast enough, you blew up at them. Now you don't care what they say. You just tell them, and that's it. And they seem to like you at work. Been working there a few months, and it's been 5 months since you've been drinking. And for a while, just like a lot of other times, it seemed like this can't last. This can't last. It's got to end pretty soon. Success was catching up to you. You had never had it before. They seemed to be praising your work. They seemed happy with you. It was something you had never had before. You found yourself, at first, questioning them when they would tell you it was a good job, wondering what they were really up to, what they were really after, if they wanted you to produce even more. Success really shook you up, because if you succeeded at this, no telling what they would want from you next. There might be no end Even now, you still can't figure out why you went through that period, being mildly frightened by success, a little bit worried, concerned. Why did you think that it wouldn't last? Why did you think the job was going to end anyway? Remember all the other jobs that you were so sure you were going to get fired from that you told off the boss and then he did fire you, or you were so sure you were going to get fired you walked off and quit before they had a chance. And again, maybe there was a lot of people when you were growing up who were pretty convinced that you would never succeed, and they got you to believe the same thing. They made you believe that you would never be successful, and it took a while to work through that feeling. This time when you had the job and you started succeeding, well, they kept giving you 2 or 3 raises in a row because they were happy with your work. A lot's happened in the 5 months since you stopped drinking, a lot of good things. The more time goes by, the more pleased you are with yourself. In the 5 months since you've been drinking, since you quit drinking, you found some new things about anger. You've learned that other people's anger is not the end of the world. You're remembering back
I'm here.
how if your wife or your girlfriend, whoever your woman was, she had had a bad day, something had gone wrong, or she was angry with you about something, maybe slamming a door, your response used to be immediate anger back. Underneath your anger was fear. You used to be afraid of seeing her angry. You used to be afraid of what she would do to you, what she would say to you. And you used to either insult her back or get a fight going and then leave to go drink, or just leave to go drink. Now you're thinking, just 2 days ago, how different it had been. For some reason, your woman hadn't talked to you for a day and a half. You kind of knew she was angry about something. She has been upset. You know her pattern. She was short, would make angry statements when she brought the food to you. Wasn't saying much. She seemed to be waiting for you to say something. And so then you heard her banging things around in the kitchen. You were reading in the front room. Try to get this picture in your mind as you recall. A glass smashed She either threw it or dropped it. She's just throwing things around. She's very angry. And before you used to holler in, "What the hell's going on in there?" This time, you remember you had walked in the kitchen, walked over to her, and put your hand on her shoulder. You said, "Is something bothering you?" And you knew what her response would be. You knew that that one statement wouldn't open her up, turn her into a sweet and loving woman. She had been angry for too long to be bought off that easy. She pushed your hand away and said, "Leave me alone." And this was a perfect setup for you. Before, you would have thought, "I did my best." Now she's mad, now I can go drink. But this time, you had just taken a deep breath, realizing that sometimes people get upset, become angry, and they don't know what to do about it. And so you had told her, "Well, if you feel like talking about it, telling me what it's all about, I'll be in the front row." And sure enough, about a half hour later, she came in and had a lot of things on her mind, a lot of fears. You were surprised how you were able to listen to her telling yourself to remain relaxed, even though part of what she said hurt to hear it. But you also realized that during that time, she was upset. You could easily have become angry, left the house, become angry, told her to leave you alone. And you had raised your voice a few times while talking to her, pointing out that a lot of the things she was accusing you of were either in the past or didn't apply or was making mountains out of molehills. Until toward the end, she said, as she started to cry, that she didn't know if you even loved her anymore. And then it dawned on you what she was really upset about. You had been working quite hard lately, getting to bed early, getting a good night's sleep. But for some reason, you had missed a few days in a row when you didn't make love with her. And even though she didn't know it, this was upsetting her, preying on her, mind. And that is very odd in itself, you realize, because how many other times when you've made advances to her has she accused you of being some kind of pervert who all he thought about was sex, and yet leave her alone for a few days and she gets upset again. This time you found yourself, as you were calm, still quite rational, still quite relaxed, found yourself able to think, to contemplate these things, to pick out from underneath what might really be on her mind. And no one can really understand the female mind because they change. And the thing they may be complaining about, maybe complaining they're getting too much sex, maybe underneath they're really complaining that they're not getting enough. That they don't feel secure because you haven't touched them enough lately. You think it was just like that party. These last couple days at the party, you had sat, watched people, and knew what they were doing for a change, why they were doing things, what was pushing them to do this or that, how people got led into it, flirting with that bitch at the party, and then being dumped by her. Because you were sober and aware and thinking, you knew more about what was going on. The same with your woman the other night. Because you stayed calm, remained relaxed, and took a few deep breaths, even in the midst of her anger, you were able to see what was behind it, what was pushing it. And it was really a good feeling, a real good feeling. These 5 months has seen a big change in the way you think, the way you lead your life, how much better you feel. You've even started to spend a little time on a couple of your old hobbies. A little more sports activity. These were things that when you were drinking you just didn't seem to have the time or the energy to carry out. But lately it seems that the time and energy has been there. You've enjoyed them, perhaps more than you ever did before. This will be the end of session 17. You may open your eyes now, feeling still relaxed, but your eyes are open.